All right, time to get this stream started. Nothing like a little Friday night game dev. Check my levels here. Hey Code, thanks for hopping on. Yeah, family's doing pretty well. How are you all? Excuse me. How are you all doing? If you don't mind, is the music balance okay right now? OBS has a new layout, and so I'm getting used to it. Cool beans. Are you all doing well? All right. So, if anyone is not too bad, I'm glad to hear it. Glad to hear it, man. I did test out that that game that you made, the one that you apologized for. And yeah, you're welcome for the ping. No, I did try out that game that you made, the movie theme, the movie quote game. I thought it was funny that you formally apologized for it. Hey, Riley Parker. Hope your evening's going well. It looked like it was a good idea. It felt like you just ran out of time. Because you click the button a few times and then it auto-clicks, but then it's basically a video at that point. So I knew you were onto something. I think you just needed some time. It was a pointless game, but didn't have the 3 hours. Yeah. Yeah, it's tough, man. I was intrigued, though. I mean, I watched the whole, the first 100 seconds of it. I was intrigued. Obviously, then it was kind of a repeat, but... And Riley's asking if you finished the Death Trap game. I think that you did, right? For the most part, you did. For anyone hopping on this stream for the first time, this is the 4th stream where I'm taking an asset pack, which I purchased off of Itch, and turning it into a game. That's kind of my constraint, if you will, for this little challenge, is to basically, as much as possible, just use the asset pack for a game. And it's this. It's the Lords of Pain, kind of a Diablo 2 style asset pack. And so it's the 4th stream where I'm working on this. And I'm gonna make it a little bit bigger here, I think. All right. I think she was asking about your Clone Escape game. All right, and as far as this asset pack goes, I've gotten this dude, this butcher dude, into the game. At least as like a regular monster, not as a boss, but I could turn him into a boss. I've picked the warrior. I've put the warrior into the game so far. And the skeleton. I have yet to add the subservient, which is an NPC, and the slime. You said your game jam was going to have different dialogue each time it reset with a twist ending. Oh, yeah, that would make sense. Yeah, so Clone Escape is done. That's a wrap. You should release it to console. Let's see, I could start making tiled floors. I haven't done that yet. And so yeah, for tonight, there are a few things I wanted to do in this game. So I'm just going to get into it. Let me minimize this. And I've got my notepad pulled up here. So features, bugs, and then I also wanted to add another category. This will be, I'll just call it tools. I wanted to add some dev tools to help me out. So I'm going to want FPS, an FPS display. I want, I've got player, aggro, radius, display, enemy, path, drawing, and then probably some more things after that too. It really wouldn't hurt to put a pause in the game either, but yeah, it has controller support. Well, there you go. That makes it pretty easy. So I haven't actually tried an actual console port yet, so that would be interesting. But if you've already got the controller mapping, I know that's a big part of it. So here's what I've got so far. I added, again, I haven't done much offline, but I did do a little bit of testing with the enemies, and I have mostly gotten them working better. I have them temporarily drawing their pathing as well. You've personally beat the game 3 times? Well, that's a lot more than me, Code. I'm not the best at it, but it's fun. Actually, I have yet to finish the whole game, to be honest. I need to do that. So what I have here is a circle, which is the aggro range, and enemies in it will path to me. Enemies outside of it will find me very boring, and they'll stop following me around. So it seems to work. Like I can probably get this middle guy down here within range, but not the other guys there. So that seems to be going pretty well. Obviously, I'll make it a little bit bigger. But for testing purposes, it's nice to see that it's working. There's still an issue where the enemies spawn funny and they fly across the screen, so I'll need to get to that. And some things like that. So yeah, I guess there are still some raining enemies, and I think that's a product of the way I'm loading the chunks. So let me see here. We've got... Let me shut the store here. And then let's see, that's 8. What's 5? Don't think I need 5. So 6. So previously it was because I had like enemy spawner objects out here in the main level, but I got rid of those as far as the raining enemies. So I'm just going to keep track of that bug. Player starts off in running animation. That's complete. Let's see, how do I strike through? Shift X. Oops, that is not. Control Shift X. Player breakables collision, did that already. Skeleton pathing is mostly fixed, but I need to add enemies raining with an exclamation point. And yeah, I'll figure that one out at some point. I wanted to get a few tools in the game as well. I added fire. It's a flame. Simple animation. And all I've done with the fire so far is I told it to... There's a random chance it'll be flipped horizontally. I could also randomize the scale just a little bit if I wanted to and some things like that. But let's see what that looks like. I mean, it's right there, so I think the Z order on it is kind of messed up. At least for the enemies. For the player, it actually seems fine. Oh, there goes a raining dude too. The fire's not too shabby. Loot separation would be good too. Yeah, let me add that to the list. Now, loot separation. And let's see, I had decorated this scene. There's a little... I just added some gold out here. I was taking a screenshot. Let me get that off of here, though. The light behind me just turned green in my camera. It doesn't like it. They both turned green. What is going on here? And I'm all purple. It's because I was using a color correction on OBS because of the light colors back here. So I'm going to try to unpurple myself. I don't know. The lights just keep turning green. The streamer gods are displeased with me. Let's see here. Webcam, filter, color correction. Do a little hue shift. Close enough. All right. So then, okay, dev tools. So I've already added enemy pathing. I want that to be a dev tool too. Let me add a slider bar in here. Or let me think, a toggle bar. Actually, I have another idea. Let me hold on. 1 second. I gotta take some chicken out of the oven. Be right back. Right back. Okay. And I'm back. All right, let's add a variable here. For the dev tools, I'm sure other people have different ways of doing this, but let's see. We'll just go here. We'll say so if this key is pressed and if this key is pressed, we can check a variable value. If it is false, we'll set that to true. Loop beams. Yeah, that's a good idea. I like that. Okay. Now what I want to do is add toggle switches. And let me see here. I want to add these. I'm going to add these here. And I also wanted to add the FPS. So let's do a text object. And let's add that extension. Oh, it's already here. Reinstall. Oh, where do I have this already? Oh, I already have this. I'm losing it. Hold on a second. If I run the game... Oh, it's already in here. What the heck? Where did I even put that? It's on the main level. Okay. That's cool. Honestly, I'm fine with that, though. So... no, I can leave it here, and then I'll just toggle off these switches as I need to. You said you think you found the issue with your PC, sent ChatGPT the crash, BSOD reports, and it said your M2 drive is failing. So new C drive is needed. Oh, man. What size do you think you would want to go for? Yeah, 200 pounds later. See, what's that? One to 2 terabytes. Don't get the Temu ones, though. $30. 30 pounds. Let me check the weather here. Like I said earlier, we've been getting some storms, and we need the rain. But of course, there's a tornado warning headed our way. Look at this. Well, maybe I won't show the whole stream, but there's a tornado warning headed toward us. But it's only radar indicated, not observed. Which means it's just a radar pattern and not an actual funnel, but could turn into one. Might go south of us, though. So I'm going to keep my weather map here. And if I lose power and the stream goes out, that's why. But yeah, let's see. Temu has a bad rep. Products are totally fine. Well, that's good. I just don't know about a $30 4 terabyte car. Like, that seems a little fishy to me. A little too good to be true there, maybe. In fact, up here in the top it says this item was discontinued. But hopefully you can find one that's not too bad and not too expensive. All right. Yeah, exactly. It's just if you're gonna buy like like I don't know, a little goofy present or something, a stress toy to swing around, or a fidget gadget, things like that. Okay. I feel like I'm not really doing anything here useful. If this variable is true, then we'll say switch if this is not visible, we're going to make it visible. And then, yeah, exactly. Things that you know will be bad. And so you're just okay with it. All right. What other things was I going to add in? It's going to be... That was it so far. So what I'll do is I'll take this, I'm going to copy it, and then basically invert everything. Oh, nice. It's good for dice. I hadn't thought about that. No, that's a good example of something that can be cheap. Because I guess if you're not doing like Las Vegas quality, like casino dice, then that's 100% fine to buy them off Temu, isn't it? I only have one set of actual like D&D dice. Blue with gold lettering. What's your favorite pair? Not pair. What's your favorite set of dice, Code, that you have? In fact, I have them in a bottle here. Little decent set there. The thing for me is I would like more dice, but I haven't had a good excuse to buy them because anytime I play, it's virtual online. So I need more excuses. Okay, so let's go to so in the player object, somewhere in here I was drawing where is it? Walking. Where did I put it? Attack set is pink and white. check dice is green and gold. Nice. You have so many that you have actual purposes for them. Both metal. Ooh, nice. I like metal ones. If the tornado alarm go off. It's by Miko, and it's only radar indicated. It means it's just a radar pattern. No one's actually seen one yet. Okay. What I was looking for here is the pathing. So draw enemy path. What I'll do is I'm going to create a variable. I really need to get moving. I'm going slow tonight. We're going to say dev paint. I'll just say enemy path. And dev player aggro. Apply. As a DM, you like to gift dice sets at the end of a campaign to say thanks. Oh, you're a good dungeon master. I haven't talked to you much about D&D lately, I feel like, but oh, can you hear that thunder? Sorry. It's kind of loud, isn't it? Yeah, it's definitely it's hitting us pretty heavy right now, but and I was going to ask, do you have a current campaign? How's it going? Okay, so what I'll say is draw the path. We're going to do a variable check for dev enemy path. If it is true, since COVID, your group disbanded. You run small one-shots for your kids and their friends. Man. Are you going to try? I mean, it's cool that you do it. I do remember you talking about running some with your kids and their friends, which is awesome. Are you going to... Is the group contemplating playing again anytime soon? Switch enemy pathing. Interactions are activated. if it is checked, and if this variable is false, we're going to set it to true. Then I need to do the opposite. Then I think I want to do the same exact thing for the other switch. So this will be for the player aggro. Yeah, the storm is moving south. They got rid of the tornado warning. Now we're just in a flash flood warning. Let's see if I can make it quieter. Yeah. Okay. So there's this one, and then the other one I need is... oh, right here. What is it doing? I think it's freaking out. I'm going to save this and close it. No, I'm glad it's not too loud. Okay. Let's see if this works. I might need to do a few things to change it up. But I like to have a few tools available to speed up some things. So if I push these keys... oh, you know what? That's probably not the best set of keys to push, but... let's see. How about... let me do... let me do these. You know what I did not do, though, is... this. Sorry, I know this is like kind of boring. Is it not just setting to false straight after an event order? I think that it is. So I think I need to do something else. I did this in my other game. Let me tell you what. Let me double check my other implementation. So if I close the project, let me see how I'm doing this in my tower defense game. Oh, I did a toggle and a trigger once. Yep. Yeah, key released toggle. There we go. That should be better. Yeah, it's being really picky right now. Right, it does not like that. Let me see. So numpad 0, change the variable DevTools visible toggle. Should start off as false. If it's false, if the variable is false, no, if it's true, and if the switches are not visible, we're going to show them. So up here, we created objects from the DevTools. Technically, the objects should be visible to begin with. I never did hide them. But down here, I guess we are hiding them. Let me... This was not meant to take a long time. So it's checked. Let's figure this out real quick. I want to get to the actual game. Maybe it's showing... Oh, I think I know the issue. They are on the wrong layer, and we are zoomed in. That's gotta be it. Yeah, you called it as well. You called it at the exact same time that I was thinking about it. There we go. So now I've got the enemy pathing showing. If I want to see my player radius, well, that was supposed to do the trick. If I want to turn off enemy pathing, I can do that. Okay, player aggro, if it is checked. Oh, right here. Easy fix. There we go. And then I guess that's it. It'll look a little funny because it's on the UI layer and my cursor. I'll need to figure out what I want to do for the cursor. I have it on the base layer because it interacts better with objects, but I don't think I need it. In fact, let me put that on my list here. We'll say move cursor to UI layer. The only reason I'm putting that on here is I was originally making all of the breakable objects basically like buttons to have button states, but then I decided it's actually a real pain to have to literally put the cursor on something to interact with it rather than just like click anywhere and have them swing. So I got rid of that, so I could probably put the cursor back on the UI layer if it only needs to interact with buttons and UI elements. All right, so dev tools. All right, there is the player radius, and now we can easily see if we're going to aggro these guys. And their pathfinding. Some of them are running away from me, which is really weird. So I just noticed that bug. Let me go over here, and I'm going to add the bug. Earlier I said demons way weird. Now I'll say demons fleeing upon the sight of me. All right, making progress. Should work okay to interact with UI only stuff. Yeah, I think so. And where do I do this? Hide the cursor. Let's add this to UI layer. Let's see how this works. Whoa, it's really tiny. Let me think. Why did it get so small? I guess it's not zoomed in, so... I guess if we're doing zoom, that's something to take into consideration, isn't it? Yeah, cursor size slider. What will that do for actual tracking? So for example, it's not... If I don't hide the cursor, I can see that it's not tracking the default cursor accurately. So you can see that the gauntlet is way off. So now I'm curious if just changing the size would fix that, and I'm not sure. Because I think it has to do with the camera zoom. Obviously I could just zoom that layer. Which I think will sync it up, but then other things like the buttons wouldn't show up. I mean, it's sort of synced, but it's like still off. It's so bizarre. Yeah, that's super annoying. I'm not going to worry about it for right now. I will leave that on my notepad. That'll be a tomorrow problem. Is layer centered? Is the layer centered? That's a good question. Remind me, how do I check that? Like center the camera on the layer? Oh, right here. Best for game content. Best for content that can extend. Should they all be centered? You always center your game as it stops the game camera looking off in browsers. That makes sense. That makes sense. All right. I'll figure this out. Just not tonight. So that should bring me back here where I have my UI stuff. I can hide the... Oh, that one was close. That was a good one. It made my monitor flicker. Thought I lost power. Let's see. Oh, here we go. Let's hide the cursor again. I thought the stream was cooked. For sure. Alright, got my dev tools. Yeah, I appreciate it. We'll be all right. The worst of it is south of us, and it's moving east, so we'll be fine. It is heading toward our main city, so I hope they all stay safe. Okay. So... Alright, loot glint, we got that. We added the demon. Oh, the damage indicator for enemies. Can you add a glow to the loot beams? Yeah, I could add a glow to the loot beams. In fact... Change the tint of the loot beacon. So we have a color here. Oop. Now that Thunder's wild. Oklahoma City Thunder, am I right? Basketball team. Alright, let's see. Yeah, now they're glowing. How's that look? Any better? They're glowing with the same color as the beacon itself. Maybe a little bit hard to see. That was really loud. More glow. I hate that bug. So technically what I could do is have... Probably if I made them like kind of have a breathe effect, that might do the trick. And I'll say one thing, it probably is a little small in the stream, but right here in front of me on full screen, they're pretty big. They're not overly tall, I would say, but they're pretty wide. Inner glow 0 and outer 4. We can try 4. I feel like in front of me, though, let's see how it looks. It does look more light-like, so I agree with you there. Maybe that's better. That's pretty cool, actually. Because now it's almost like a lightsaber. You kind of get that contrast from the center to the outside. I'm good with that. It's close. A few tweaks later, maybe. Yeah, especially, like you said, if we tweak it based on loot rarity and all that. So... that being said, we don't really have a lot of different loot in the game at the moment. But we did get these tools put in tonight, so I'm going to go ahead and mark those off the list. Delete column shadows. I think I did that last time too, so that can be checked off. Add loot drops. Lights. Beacon. Randomization. I think we've got those two. Yeah, we got some good stuff done so far. Obviously adding like a gems count and a gold count is easy. I kind of want to wait till I figure out what kind of a system I even want in the game before I start putting that stuff in. Obviously I could put a text value up on the screen, but it won't really mean much because we're not really doing anything. I don't know what kind of economy this game would have. The idea is to kind of get everything into the game and then to get all the art in the game and then make a game out of it. So, you know, if we're sticking to Diablo 2, you would have an NPC, which I could go ahead and put the NPC into the game. So why don't I put that on here? Add NPC. I don't even know. He's an NPC. Oh, stream is struggling. Let me try something. Not sure there's much I can do about that. It's probably not just my Wi-Fi, unfortunately. Sorry about that. Working. Not even sure what this animation is. It's like hammering on something, like a blacksmith. He's like chained. Oh, I see. So he's like not so much of a townsfolk. He looks like he's like a prisoner. And he's also got a worship animation. Interesting. Well, I have an idea. I've got an idea. So if I take... I can add him to the game. But what I was kind of thinking was get someone who's maybe not a prisoner to be more like a Towns NPC. So we have other player options. And to be honest, I'm not sure I'm going to put those in for the player to choose, at least not anytime soon. So we could have like the fighter or one of these other guys be it your townsperson. Kind of thought there was an animation for idle, but it's just standing still. Let's see. Idle, armed idle, and the other. Do the does the warrior have? So there's not really an idle animation. It's just an idle sprite, which is a little unfortunate. So they'll just literally stand there. Not much I can do about that, though. All right, I have an idea, though. Let me take the... Let me look at the south one, where he's looking at us straight on. Okay for now, yeah. No point in getting in a fuss over it. So there's armed, and then there is default. What do you think? I'll take your opinion on this. If this is a guy you're basically gonna like buy stuff from, should he be armed or hands-free? I can probably open both. Let me see here. God, the lightning. All right, I'm going to start putting in... I think he's got to be... The arms looks pretty cool, doesn't it? All right, let's start putting the armed in there then. Yeah, no worries. Armed idol. I wanted to try something here. It worked earlier. All armed idol. And I'm wondering if this will be any faster. So let me open up double panes here. And I think gdevelop will take all of these and create different animations. At least it did earlier for me. So now if I go in here, let me delete this one. Import images, and then go back out to playable characters, knight, armed idol. Do this. Okay, good. It worked. And then, so call this NPC knight. Let's edit the points. We do not like that collision mask, do we? Not sure we need it, but still. Let's give him... Oh, I guess nothing at the moment. Dispelling. Really hard to see. He needs his own light source, but all right, so if I go to my enemies, we've got the enemy animation. I think for the NPC would just be based on where the player is in relation to him. You will activate the stones to open the portal. Oh, and you said, do we need to rescue him from Tristram? Yes. In fact, rescue him from Tristram, but don't open a Scroll of Town portal because that's a bad idea. Opening a Scroll of Town portal is actually just inviting hell on earth. So let's not do that. It's a common adventurer rookie mistake. Because then Diablo can just walk into town. That's probably what happened to Tristram. All right. So again, I think I'm going to do this just a little bit differently. In fact, let me create one of these called NPC. Ugh, gdevelops. I don't know if it's my computer or gdevelop, but it's lagging out again. I think it's gdevelop. Wonder if anyone actually used the old scroll to see the pattern of the stones. Flood what? Flood warning. You just, I know. I think I did like the very first time I played the game. And then I don't think I ever looked at it after. I think they figured that out when they made Act 2 because you need to know which tomb to go in. So instead of having an object like a scroll to click and open up and look at, it's just in your quest. You know, in the quest, when you open that up, it's just the icon is there. Which I think probably made more sense. But I appreciate that it existed in the scroll. I like to know that it's there. I just don't want to ever have to actually use it. Okay. For each instance of NPC night, we're going to add a light. That way we can actually see him a little bit. And then I think I needed to actually add the sticker behavior here. Okay, and next, I think this is where we're going to check the, so set animation based on angle to player. Remember joining games like Tombs 01 or Dia Run 14. Yeah. Yeah, Tombs 1. You know, Trist 0014. Big Boy Trades. I'll run bail. I'll run bail 01. Yep. Have you had a chance to play the Warlock yet? Okay, I'm going to add a variable. I haven't done this very often, but I think it'll work. So I'll just say angle. It's going to be a number. And NPC angle is going to be assigned angle between 2 points, or between positions. So that will be between itself hope this is going to work. Oh, not yet, unfortunately. Yeah, it's really fun. I haven't gotten very far with it myself. I just opened it up. I'm in like Act 3 or something. Taking my time with it. It's just a walkthrough, but favorite act from Diablo 2? Kind of depends on if you're just talking like just enjoying the world and not necessarily about like what do I like to farm. If you're talking about just like immersion, I kind of like Act 5. Maybe it's because of the soundtrack. Maybe it's because they really knew what they were doing by that point in the development. Maybe it's because of the barbarians and the snowlands. I like Act 5 a lot. And then, yeah, interestingly, I think Act 1 is my second. Act 2 may be my least favorite. But I hate the early half of Act 3 so much. I'm fine with the feel of Act 3, but I hate navigating Act 3 the most. Until you get to Lower Kurast. What do you like about Act 1 that makes it your top? Okay, I want a change the variable angle. I want a text object to show me this, so I'm going to add it to dev tools. Text test. In fact, let me duplicate this. This needs to actually just be called text FPS. I think. Wait. Or do I have a different one? Cancel. No, I do have a different one. Okay. I'll call this one text NPC angle. Okay, dev tools. You know what? I think it's unfortunate to name it angle. So I'm going to call it NPC angle. Okay. Let's give this a shot. Oh, and you know what else? I did not put that on the right layer. UI, and then it's also kind of large. 26. No outline. What size is the FPS one? I want these to look kind of similar. 24. 24 is a little small. Let's make them both 26. Let's save the progress. Let's run. Let's read chat. You said Act 2 was all elemental attacks. Act 3 was large, and the enemy ran so fast. Act 4 was too short, definitely. Act 5 was fun, but hard solo, also definitely. Act 1 is fun, as it's a challenge, but not unfair. Yeah, Act 1 is really single-player friendly. Like, and it feels more what I might call basic in terms of like, I don't know. I feel like, you know, the woodland, it's like the woodlands and the traditional dungeons, which are very familiar, I think, in that kind of like world. You know, jungles are probably less common when it comes to like this sort of dark fantasy. I mean, I know these days you have a lot, but back then it might have been less common. Yeah, I agree with everything you just said. Okay. Why is this doing that? Oh, well, for starters, yeah, start all previews from the scene. Why is it not? Change the text of the text object, set it to the, oh, does this need to be like to string? Trying to figure out why it's just showing me a number. You said those scarabs in Act 2 can get yeah, the beetle burst and the chain, not the chain lightning, the the lightnings that they shoot out. They really mow you down. Supposedly they have some of the best XP value in the game. Lightning bolts. Charged bolts. Let's say player is moving. Am I using top down? I don't remember. Yeah, top down movement. Okay. That should still work. Just not sure why. This is showing -1. What is that number? Let me delete this off of here. Is that the... I don't know. Text NPC angle. Drop this on here. I'm going to put it down here. UI. Preview. Is it because... it could be because there's no NPC. Why don't I add one of those? But that's not really doing much for me. Oh, it's under the chat. Let me fix that. There we go. That should be a little bit better. Yeah, so all I'm trying to do is I'm calculating the angle between this guy and my player. But for the text object itself, I've just said assign it to this string plus that variable to string. 1 second though. I was just checking the water level in our backyard. We must have gotten a foot of water tonight. Okay, so yeah, here's what I'm doing. I'm changing the variable. And for test purposes, let me even just get rid of this. Let me just hard code that variable value real quick. So that should be, I'll say 66. Let me see what that looks like here. It's showing -1. It's getting some value here. Oh, well, that would NPC angle. Do you need to put to string? Yeah, I did to string. I'm sure I've done something very goofy here. Change the text of the text object set to... What if I even just get rid of this part of it for the moment? I must have done something. So dev tools, this is the text NPC angle. So text NPC angle, this is the default value of the text. Something's updating it though. I tell you what, I'm sure I'm calling it from somewhere else in the game. Let me delete this. I think something else is calling it. Let me create a brand new text object. That way I can actually test if it's reading something as a variable. So text NPC angle. Okay, I'm going to drag that out here. Set that to UI. Then I'll come back here. And now let's try all this other stuff. So this will be plus NPC night dot NPC angle. And that should be updated if the player is moving. Let's try this one more time. Well, not one more time. Let's try it again. Okay, actually. I know what it's doing. This number, this little number over here, is showing me the angle of my player. So if I'm moving to the right, that's 0. If I move to the bottom right, it's going to be 1. If I move straight down, it's a 2. And so on. Which I did that somewhere else in the game. So let me find where I'm overwriting this. Yeah, right here. All right, that's the problem. There we go. All right, now Now that that's done, all right, so it's still not really updating, which tells me probably this is not registering as true. So if I update it every frame, well, oops, I didn't hit update. NPC angle. Don't know how much it'll matter, but I can also do this. Yeah, I disabled the bottom part here just so I could see it showing just the variable value, the fixed variable value, which should be 66. So for testing purposes, I just want this to show me NPC angle 66. But it's not even giving me that. Because if I go over to the night object, the variable there, you can see I hard-coded it. I'm just trying to get it to show me that at all. Not sure why I'm struggling so much. Let me try the toString again. Like you said. Yeah, still nothing there. In the night, I can see the variable is still at 66. How odd. Yeah, you think so? I'll do, ooh, not that number. Too many people like that number. 65. Let's do 65 for the hard set. But let me check if the debugger is showing 65. Refresh. It's actually showing 66 still. Is it acting like there's not even... The debugger shows me that there is an instance of the night. But some of this other stuff is acting like there's not a night at all. You know what, Code? I did it again. I did it again, my friend. I'm sorry for dragging you along. I didn't call the external events. Yep, you called it. All right, there we go. Now we can actually test this stuff. Can you imagine? I actually try to give people game making advice. What a hypocrite. Okay, so there's my angle. That seems actually to be accurate. So if I move to the bottom, it should be close to 90. To the far left, it'll be about 180. Or yeah, 180, negative 180. So that's good. Yeah, definitely sleepy brain. It's been a long week. I feel like I say that every week, but I guess that just comes with age. Cool. So it looks like the angle's working. Obviously, I went around it. So change the variable. Let me see. There we go. No decimals. So that's going to go to 180. Okay, that's a little different. I wonder why it goes 180 and then to negative 180 instead of 360. It's because GDevelop relies on the arctangent mathematical function, which traditionally returns values in the range negative 180 to 180, representing the shortest path for rotation. This format acts as angle normalization, where 180, excuse me, 180 and negative 180 technically represent the same direction. Yeah, I was definitely just testing you, Code, and you caught it. So I'm proud of you. You passed the test. You're hired. Okay, what I'm looking at here is this. Yeah, above or below X. And right here, there's a formula variable. My angle is less than. Let's go over to this. Oh, sorry for the flashbang here. Granted, this is Java, but I'm just trying to look at the logic of it. So above NPC X, then it's negative 180, but below it will be 180. The thing is, I want to use a range. So if I go to my enemies, so for example, facing downward or facing southward is easy. That's always going to be 90 degrees. But facing left and facing right gets a little sticky because there's going to be a range in there. So it would technically need to be like... So if I go to the enemies, north is between these degrees. North meaning up. West, which is left. That's this one here. It's between these degrees, so that crosses 180. 180 would be the middle of these two, as would negative 180 in this case. So I basically need to do like a... If the angle is between 157 and 180, or if it's between negative 180 and negative 157, it would face left. I could make it work. Let's just... I think I can use these types of checks. I think it'll work. So... Oh, I wanted to try one other thing here too. Let me see. Player is moving. See if I can limit this to only update whenever the player is moving. Okay, that seems to work. For optimization, yeah, I could do that. That would be actually literally what I've done here with the enemies. So then I could actually copy and paste these events, which would be really nice. I like that suggestion. Why don't we try that? All right, let's duplicate this. I will call it NPC Angle Finder. That should already have the... I don't need it to have the draw pathfinding behavior or the pathfinding behavior. Although we could end up giving him a little bit of pathing. Only follow the position. I don't care about that. Don't care about that. So then create the NPC angle finder. Stick that to it. Okay, that seems to work. You said, or just have a check of NPC position is above player Y and above player X equals NPC is below and right if player, etc. Yeah, that would work too. I'm going to try your first method and see if it works because it seems to be playing out all right. So we'll see how it goes. Have a check if the NPC position is above player Y and above player X. Yeah, in fact, I think I started to do that with my breakable objects. But I think it was a little bit... The way that I did it wasn't great. I'm sure that there is a way to do it great. But let's try this. I'm just going to copy this whole thing. And I want to find and replace enemy pathfinder with NPC angle finder on this sheet. And since there's, well, let me think. If we add multiple NPCs, which we could, enemy's ID. I suppose we could give each NPC an ID. It's not like we're going to have a million of them, but we could do it. Set myself up to possibly have more than one. Yeah, I could also check is stuck too. And then we wouldn't have to have the ID. Let's try that. All right, the other thing I want to find and replace here is enemies. And swap that out with NPC knight. And then I need to change the animation names. So I'm going to change these to basically just the letter. It is helpful that he included the angle, but for consistency, I'm going to change these back. And apply. Let's see. What else do I have here? So empty thing here. There's an empty thing here. Okay, I'm going to save because it's glitching out again. And let's give it a test. It's kind of working. But not, it's kind of not working too. Also add if NPC is on screen as well as the player is moving. Yeah, we could do that. See, how do you do that check? Is that an extension? Yeah. Let's see, what was it called? Do I need to add it to... It'd probably help if I actually read it. Let me read it. The condition also allows for specifying padding to the virtual screen border. Okay. What did they call the condition, though? Okay, found it. Yeah, you're right. Thank you. There we go. If it is on screen. Player is moving. Rotate the angle toward player. It's still acting a little funny though, if I recall. So I can't tell if he's just delayed. Like if I go all the way up here, he's not facing me. It's like he has no problem with the bottom half. Let me double check something. What does his north animation look like? That looks correct. Northeast. Yeah, These look fine. Northeast, northwest. I was wondering if they were named incorrectly, but it looks like it's all right. East, north, northeast, northwest, south. All right, so the angle is currently, oh, tell you what, let's update this. I don't care about the angle of, I guess I don't care about the angle of the NPC anymore. What I care about is the angle of the, yeah, the angle finder. You're right. Okay. There we go. Gonna play my relaxing music again. I know it's been on repeat tonight, but it's just something chill. Okay. Yeah, let's double check the angles now. Oh, I forgot again to do... You said floor the number? He should be facing upward if he's at approximately 270. NPC angle negative. So why is this using negatives again? So I mean, that's part of the problem. But then why is it working? Like it worked for the enemies. So what did I do differently? Oh, you're saying to get rid of the decimals? Yeah, and so again, it looks like the angles... The enemy pathfinder object is moving and is rotating based on pathfinding, which gives me 0 to 360. But telling the NPC angle finder object to rotate towards player, that seems to be giving me the negative 180 to 180 again, which would require me to come in here and change these values, which I guess I can. It would really need to be for... five of the directions. So we have south. So if we go from the right side and then around. So south, actually not south, it would be east. East, southeast, south, southwest, west, northwest, north, northeast. So this first one would have to be between... Pretty sure it's just the negative value, the negative version of 22.5. Golly. 22.5. Because that's to face right. Southeast stays the same, south stays the same, southwest stays the same. West, which would be left, could just have the NPC swap from left to right, depending on player's exposition. Yeah, it could do that. But then we would miss out on like the facing upward and downward behavior. Especially the upward one wouldn't work. Which is not game breaking. But we do have the sprite there. It's available. So to face left, that would need to be... So I need an or condition here. Let's see if I can do this. If I can't do this, I might take the other approach. So we'll say if the angle is greater than or equal to negative 150, and then I'll say less than or equal to negative 157. Let's see if left works. I mean, I think it does. Then honestly, that's probably the hardest one. Then northwest is just going to be basically the negative version of southwest. So negative 112.5. And it'll be less than or equal to that. But then if it's greater than negative 247. I think that's correct. Then for north, which is up, that's going to be the opposite of south. So again, that's going to be negative 67.5 and negative 112. And again, that should be less than or equal to, and then greater than. Then northeast, finally, that'll be the opposite of southeast, so 22.5. Negative, of course, and negative 67.5. We're going to find out here in a minute. I appreciate the vote of confidence. It's really hard to see him, isn't it? That background just kind of... It seems to be working, though. I think I did more complaining than I did problem solving. That wasn't too bad. Alright, well, he's now facing us. Fancy that. Now all we need to do is hide that angle finder. So, let's see. Hide. Alright, not bad, not bad. What time is it? 10:30. I'm getting really close to the end of my time here, but let's see. Add NPC. We've added an NPC. I'm going to mark that off the list. Next would just be like, you know, a shop window or whatever. So, but again, it kind of depends on what we want to do with the game. But I imagine we need some sort of a shop window at the NPC. Something like that. Obviously, you get into systems at that point. And I want to kind of build the world before I do the systems. Kind of the backwards of what I might do in an actual game. Whereas the core focus here is to get the content into the game first. A little bit backwards. So any quick things I could do? I think I just closed my tabs. Notepad. Before I close out, any low-hanging fruit here? The loot separation. I might have to do similar to what I did with the enemies, where I use a different object to check against collisions and such. Oops. So for the enemies separation, which is not perfect, by the way, but I think it works. Separate loot from loot might work. Yeah, it's kind of weird, isn't it? It's kind of finicky about if you can check like that using the same object or the same group against each other. Let's try though. So loot. Like, what do we want to do? Check if loot is in collision with loot. Then separate loot. Sometimes that confuses it. We'll try though. If loot is in collision with loot, move loot away from loot. Only loot will move. That's a lot of loot. It's the loot train. See, what's the best way to even test this? I guess I could kill enemies here at the spawner. There's a spawner here. Just keep killing them. I need to get them to drop loot. Come on. Yeah, I could place some loot and see what happens. Oh, that skeleton took off. All right. I could place loot. I just wanted to be able to see it kind of in real time. You know what I mean? Enemy death. All right, let me make it more common to get loot drops. Guaranteed loot drops. And then also guaranteed spawning. Well, let me just try this. They're going to spawn from here. Oops. Did not mean to collect it. Here we go. Come on. Oh, you know what? This is one of those weird things with the spawners. I need to figure out. It's like they won't spawn if I'm that close to it. Or if there are too many enemies on the scene, something like that. All right, so those two are really close to each other. But I can't tell. They might just be touching and not overlapping. So we'll give them a pass. But it's really close. Do double loot creation on event. That's a good idea. It's a really good idea. Well, where'd they go? Dang it, I picked up the loot. They are still overlapping. Still overlapping. What if we do something like... Oops. Would it be happier if we just say, like, do a couple specific checks? Like, if gold is in collision with loot, then move the loot away from gold. And then we could do maybe vice versa. I don't know. Small hitbox, maybe. Could be. Could be. Maybe I just need to increase the hitboxes. Okay. Again, that might have moved. It's just really hard to tell. It's basically overlapping, though, as far as the end player is concerned, so it's not good enough. Let me change this back to loot. Let's check the hitboxes. Not any better. It makes the beacons look cool, that's for sure. Yeah, we tried. You know, the other option, maybe a quick band-aid. Let me disable that. Is create a variance in exactly where it drops. So, because then it's going to be pretty hard for it to pick the exact coordinate as another drop. So, for example, drop it at like enemies.x minus, and then we'll do like a random. Do a random in range. And say like -5 to 5. And same for these things. Let's see how that looks. Because then at least... In fact, let me have it create multiple objects together to really test it out. Oh yeah, same idea. I feel like you and I keep coming up with the same ideas at the same time. And to be honest, you probably think of it faster, but then you have to type it out and there's lag. But let's see here. Yeah, they're obviously not at the exact same spot. There should be 4 of them in here. But they're not... They might be slightly overlapping, but they're not perfectly overlapped, which is fine. Because then visually you can tell there's more than one there. Then yeah, maybe just a little bit more. So if I find -5, 5, can I then replace that with -10, 10? I probably should have picked testing this on breakables rather than enemies. There's a lot more of those. Yeah, that worked out pretty well. The Z order's off. That's a nice cheap solution. I like it. That works. Plus, all of the items that are collectible by running over them by default won't make a huge difference. It'll probably make the most difference if it comes to items that you click on to pick up. All right, not too shabby though. Let's go to my notepad here. Loot separation. We'll call that done enough. Yeah, if you kill a boss with a mega drop count, do more. Yeah, for sure. Sprinkle them all over the screen. Cool. Not too shabby. So tonight we added an NPC including 8-direction animations, loot separation, we added the development tools, which will speed things up a little bit as we move along. So the FPS, the player aggro radius, and enemy path drawing. And I guess that's it, but I mean, pretty good impact, I would say. Let me get rid of these duplicate drops now. For now. Not too shabby. All right. I guess I'm gonna call it there, but yeah, no, Code. Thanks for being my co-pilot here, and thanks for hopping on. Yeah, you have a great, let's see, 10, 11, 12. You have a great morning yourself, and I'll catch you next time. So, all right, everyone else who's watching as well, thanks for joining, and until next time, I hope you have fewer bugs than I do. Thanks.